Please be seated. Principal Secretary, UniSey Council Member, Vice Chancellor of the University of Seychelles, UniSey Executive Members and Staff, UniSey students and alumni, Air Seychelles representatives, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning and welcome to the University of Seychelles. My name is Dolivet Chanko and I will be your MC for this morning. In 2016, UniSey started an annual event called the UniSey Anniversary Lecture to commemorate the opening of the university. This year, on the 17th of September, the University of Seychelles will celebrate its 14th anniversary and host the 8th edition of the Anniversary Lecture. Welcome, Your Excellency. The lecture seeks to promote local scholars who are actively engaged in scholarly activities, in particular research and other prominent work that have national or regional impact. Today's lecture will also be live streamed via our UniSey's YouTube channel for those who could not physically attend this morning, and also for viewers following us worldwide. This year, we have added 2 elements to our program to celebrate our anniversary. UniSey will launch its 15th anniversary countdown, and we will also witness the signing of an MOU between Air Seychelles and the University of Seychelles. I now have the pleasure to invite the convener, Ms. Joëlle Perrault, the Vice Chancellor of UniSey, to present the first speaker. Vice Chancellor.
Your Excellency, Principal Secretary, UniSey Council members, UniSey Executive members and staff, UniSey students and alumni, Air Seychelles representatives, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning and welcome to the University for our anniversary lecture. Today, it's going to be a different anniversary lecture that we have witnessed before. We will have 2 presenters, and we are honored because for the first time, we'll have 1 member of our alumni, Mrs. Mariette DINE, who will be presenting as well, and then we will have Dr. Henriette. So I have the pleasure of presenting Mrs. Ogale to you. Her interest in conservation work and environmental studies began at the age of 17, where she was one of the youngest members in the Plant Conservation Action Group, a small NGO composed of scientists and people with special set of skills and experience. In 2011, Mariette did several part-time jobs in search of a preferred field. She worked with SNPA, Seychelles National Parks Authority, now known as the Seychelles Parks and Garden Authority, within the research section. Then she worked as a casual worker for the position of sports officer, part-time work experience at NSC, the National Sports Council, MLUH, which was the Ministry of Land Use and Habitat, in the Land Registry section. To then fully emerge in conservation on working as an environmental office assistant on North Island and a research assistant at SIF. Today, on this special occasion, she will be sharing her journey and experiences with us that led her to further her studies locally here at the University of Seychelles. So, Mariette, welcome.
Good morning, everyone. And thank you for making it today. So It's a pleasure to be with you all today in celebration of UniSey's 14th anniversary lecture. As an alumni, I am proud to share some of my experiences, and that has led me to take the path towards the first. I would first like to share two quotes that resonates with my journey from Christy Bowman. For example, he quotes that the key to happiness and fulfillment lies within our own transformation. The more we learn and evolve as individuals, the more we find happiness and satisfaction in relationship and work life. So my journey to my own transformation began with the question that most primary students are asked by their teachers, which is what you want to be when you grow up. And for a child, that's a very big question, especially if you don't know what is out there. And so you cling to the idea of what you have observed around you. And at that young age, all I knew was that there was so many options out there, and the feeling of not being sure drove me to seek out answers. The only thing I was sure of was that I wanted to make a difference and find my purpose. And as I was very timid and had the lowest self-esteem ever, I was not comfortable expressing myself back then. And therefore, this pushed me and was the first steps towards building my self-esteem, uh, social skills, and getting involved in the local community, like my local parish square, and enrolling in dance classes, in music classes, anything that could help build my character itself so that I can be shy. And furthermore, it also led me to want to gain further education and experience so I can develop myself further as a person itself. So, in search of my own passion and self-development, it led me to experience different aspects of life and to learn and to appreciate myself and to engage in every opportunities that came my way. In the name of self-development, of course, be it through dancing, through modeling, and through academic achievements. And another quote the second quote I would want to share with you all is the one by Errol Rozan, where he quotes that some beautiful paths can't be discovered without getting lost. And despite having managed to make it to A-level studies for further studies, I never felt more lost in my life, and again it pushed me for me to find my own career path to take. And as mentioned before, this pushed me to be more open-minded and to be more keen on taking opportunities that came along my way. And could classify the journey in 5 major stages, basically, towards the self-development. First, it would be self-awareness. At this stage, this is where I knew very little about conservation, and I was very lucky enough to brush shoulders with passionates from different fields of science through the Plant Conservation Action Group, the Plant Conservation Action Group, and basically the group provided a lot of activities, outdoor activities, community engagement, volunteering, hikes, and education awareness, which was led by the Mr. Lindsay Chan Sang and Ms. Kitty Weaver as well. So they were very instrumental in molding me to the person I am today. The hikes and activities also taught me perseverance and to always be open to learn from others and to appreciate nature. The second prospect would be the second stage would be weighing the prospects in conservation. At this stage, it was where I started to work on conservation in different forms of conservation activities, where I had the opportunity to work as an environmental assistant on North Island and a research field assistant at the Valley Uni. There I developed various skills in presentation skills, coordinating, teamwork, monitoring, and other projects such as turtle tagging, get stocks, touring, whatever I could bring my interest in, so that skills would be more developed. I could find more in terms of what I was passionate about. Furthermore, by stage 3, um, this was a stage where I felt the need to do more than just implementing protocols and methodologies at work, as I did not fully understand the extent of the task that were, and I had to understand the data that I was assisting in collecting, and also felt that my opinions did not have that much weight or value because of the lack of certification, and probably because also I was the only girl in the Bangkok house at North Island, surrounded by very big, robust men that didn't really take into account young girls that just wasn't around environment things. So that's why when I joined the University of Seychelles and on scholarship, whereby my studies at the university further led to an MSc course as well. But during my BSc years, we had several interesting activities and programs with my colleagues, whereby we went on different field trips, doing programming, on valuable. So getting the opportunity to follow all my studies locally, it was very convenient and beneficial, where we could learn the complexities of the local environmental issues that we have here in Seychelles, and therefore contribute to various studies which would make it easier to be socially oriented within future prospects. Furthermore, getting the however, I still felt the need to have more significant questions of certain environmental issues was facing that required me to learn how to think outside the box, innovation. With the support of the university, again, I embarked on a global volunteer program under ISEC in Seychelles and went to Romania and that for around 6 weeks, where we had to indulge us, engage with the community and trying to teach them what we are learning at our own university to get them interested in career choices as well. And I also got the opportunity to follow an entrepreneurship course online from the Tony Room Foundation program in 2019. Um, so, so as to help think outside the box again and find other solution-oriented ideas towards environmental issues, and the best way to do that was to be an and it was definitely going outside my comfort zone from a conservationist to a business-minded person, of which I was definitely not. So I had a crash course in it basically. By the fourth stage of my journey, I had grabbed on to the interest, to what interests me and how I could make a difference while merging all my passion. I grew an interest in how fashion was the second biggest polluter in the world and how Seychelles could be contributing to overconsumption despite our small size. And after my BSc, I was ready to launch into the world of work, so I could save up and further studies in biomaterials abroad. But unfortunately, with low recruitment, I sat home for nearly a year until I got another opportunity to come and study here at the university again on the first cohort for masters in marine science and sustainability. And to be honest, despite being very headstrong in conservation and terrestrial work, I got to appreciate the course a lot and grew to love marine studies as well and got the balance of both worlds, I might say. And it proved to be the right area of study as well, which helped me to merge all my passion together and to drive and get me to drive and make a difference, both online and at finally, the last but not least, we um, I wanted to talk a little bit about the advocacy and being the change that we want to see. So for me, this is the stage that I am right now through all this journey, and it's still continuing. And it started again, as I mentioned, those experiences and all those studies and work experience that I gained over the years and coming to the university, it totally flipped all my perspectives and allowed me to be more solution oriented, to work on projects that I wanted to. I knew that okay, I want to make a difference in that, and I need to push for that and actually build a career out of it. So my MSc project at the end of the studies here at the university was about finding the general use of macroalgae as a resource, of which now the the program was funded by CECAT as well, and ETF of course, and it was focused on working with science, integrating fashion, artisans, and policymakers, conservationists, and my dissertation had potential also to turn into a two-year project of which I'm currently doing now with CECAT and the university and other collaborators, whereby we are going more into depth, collecting algae samples around market, working with consultants from Blue Seaweed. We also have Dr. Jim Martin on board, the National Aquarium, and of course, the university has been very supportive as well with the Barrett Institute. And we have other individuals as well and institutions that are helping in the project one way or another, indirectly or through other projects. So to conclude, it's very important for us to once we found one strive, it's important for us to keep focus and to keep pushing despite all challenges. There has been many challenges. Or your journey is more important than the destination. And through that mentality that was gained throughout all the experiences of going to the university and the perseverance that I managed to capture and gain from all of these, we were able to give more light on the recording sector itself. I was able to get exposed to many other parts when I participated in the Monarch expedition. And of course, the whole aim of this is to inspire the youth as well, and to get them to think bigger, think out of the box, read whatever aspect they want to study and go into. So thank you very much. Wishing the university a very happy anniversary.
Thank you, Mariette. May I now invite Vice Chancellor Robert Henderson. Thank you, Mariette, for this presentation. Now, it's an honor for me to present Dr. Henriette. Dr. is going to be our keynote speaker this year. And I would like to thank you for very honored. So Dr. Henriette is a conservation biologist with a passion for nature. She is a certified doctor du National d'Histoire Naturelle in Paris, who specialized in ecology at the Institut d'écologie et de gestion de la biodiversité, conservation des espèces, restauration et suivi. She also holds a master's degree from Université de la Réunion and the PhD degree from the University of Anglia. She has worked at the World Conservation Center in the UK and as a coordinator of the Environmental Science PhD degree development at the University of Texas. Dr. Henriette has worked for many years in Seychelles as a conservation biologist and practitioner with the Seychelles Ministry of Environment, and later as an independent consultant with private islands, the Seychelles National History Museum and local activities like the Terrestrial Restoration Society of Seychelles Trust, the Island Biodiversity Conservation IBC, and she's currently the director of Gaia Seychelles, an NGO aimed at empowering local actors within the communities to take action and better their environment. She is also a member of the Reproduction Specialist Group and a collaborator of the Invasive Species Specialist Group of the Species Survivor Commission of IUCN. She has authored a book on the management of alien invasive species in 2015, a variety of scientific publications, popular articles, and technical reports on birds, plants, corals, invasive species, and wildlife in general. Her main interest is research and conservation of the biodiversity of tropical ecosystems with the aim of addressing biodiversity loss, climate change impacts, and ecosystem restoration through practical measures for the conservation and sustainable use of that biodiversity and biological resources. Vision of biodiversity information for decision making, filling gaps in knowledge and contributing to the understanding and appreciation of nature. She has expertise in biodiversity inventories, restoration, rehabilitation of degraded ecosystems, including burned forest lands, mangroves, and coastal forests, restoration and population recovery of endangered island bird populations, and restoration of their habitats. Dr. Henriette's second interest is conservation education, with the aim of finding ways to communicate science to the people and engaging them in environmental issues to build ecological awareness and the appreciation of the local environment. She has a love for the people and feels that her mission in life is to uplift and empower others to become the best version of themselves. Dr. Henriette has a general interest in natural history. Her hobbies are photography and filming, hiking, cycling, gardening, and most of all, live casier, that is recreational fishing using fish traps. So Dr. Henriette, we're very honored to have you. And
distinguished guests, members of the Council of Organizations, the staff of the university, and the students as well, all invitees. Good morning. Good morning. That's better. You know, we are all alive. We woke up this morning. You know, thousands of people did not wake up. They went to bed last night and did not wake up. We are here, so let us be happy. Thank you. That's the spirit. So today I'm here to give you a presentation on how to empower local actors in contribution for sustainable development. So when I was approached to do this presentation, you know, I had a lot of thinking in terms of what could I present to you today. Because we've got diverse here at the university, different faculties, you know, the faculties of art and social development, whereby you deal with computing, systems, we've got the faculty of business and sustainable development, whereby you're doing finance, law, environment. We've got different research like the Blue Economy Research Institute, the Creole and Culture Institute, and also you've got education and contribution centers like the Island Biodiversity Conservation Center and the University Education Center as well. So it's very diverse. So how do I come to talk about environment to such a diverse group? So then I looked at, you know, what is UniSey? What is your motto? Do you know what is your motto? What is your motto, please? Somebody. I need all of it. The future in our hands. So it's like a future depends on you. What about your vision? What is your vision? Somebody please tell me what is the vision of university. Do not Google it. What's your vision? Vice Chancellor, we've got a problem here. Huh? The people do not know the vision of the organization. It's very important that when you belong to a team, you know the vision, because then you can walk towards that vision. In the vision of University of Seychelles, there's a few keywords. There's one that I really like. It's called transformation. Mariette started her presentation and she mentioned transformation. She went through a transformation in her journey. So University of Seychelles basically aspire to be at the heart of socio-economic transformation. Second part of the vision is about contributing to knowledge and understanding. Very powerful vision. Very powerful vision. Something that I would like for you to reflect on, you know, after this presentation. Go back, look at your vision, and reflect on it. When we talk about socio-economic development, there are two very important elements: the people and the environment. Okay. So for today, through this presentation, I would like you to reflect on the environment as a critical aspect in socio-economic transformation, because this is your vision, and that's how it's tied into environment. Yeah. So maybe when you heard that I'm coming to talk, to give a talk about environment, we're like, oh no, she's going to talk about birds, about turtles, turtles, and insects and stuff like that. I'm going to take a bigger look at environment. If we look at the definition of environment, it's basically talking about the surroundings that the people, plants, or animals live in. It's our surrounding, it's our natural world impacted by us. Okay, so we're talking about the surrounding that is very important for socio-economic transformation. Okay, so the environment is basically the element that supports us. Okay, we eat, our whole body is a heap of food. When we were born, we drank milk from our mother's breast. Okay, and then we ate solid food to become who we are today. So we are basically the environment, because the food comes from the environment. If I don't feed you for a whole year, I think all of us will die. If we do not get water after a week, half of you will die. After 2 months, all of us dead. The air, if I could switch off the air like we switch on and off the lights, the minute I switch off, 1/3 of you will die because your lungs will have no capacity to hold oxygen because maybe you smoke too much. After 10 seconds, the other half will die, and after a minute, all of us will be dead. The air that comes from the environment. Okay? So do not be too touchy when we hear the word environment because we are environment and we need it for our survival. So basically, ecosystem conservation and restoration are essential for sustaining the natural resources and services that we human beings depend on for our well-being and also for our development. So we need to secure and preserve what supports our lives. I think you would all agree to that. And there are various ways of doing that. And one way will be for us to empower each other, for us to protect our natural world. So how can we engage and empower local actors in ecosystem conservation and restoration? There are different ways. Okay? One way is for us to support their capacity. We can do that by providing them with the skills, knowledge, resources, and tools that they require. And this can be done through different participatory methods like training, mentoring, and peer learning. And while doing that, we need to respect the diversity within our community because everybody has got different views, different voices. We need to hear other people's voices. Mariette mentioned that when she was working at the North Island, because she was young, a young lady, her voice was not heard. So when we want to empower people, we need to hear them and we need to respect their values, although we may not agree with them. Okay, it's very important. And then we need to foster collaboration and partnership to share our visions and goals. So go and get to know your visions. And we can do that through communication, networking, and also co-funding each other's projects. It's very important also that we celebrate our achievements because we have a lot of achievements. So we need to be able to celebrate those achievements and learning from others. We need to appreciate the efforts of others. Very often, we do not appreciate each other's efforts, okay? So to empower other people, we need to have this appreciation. Say, thank you, Mariette, you did well today. This will empower her to do better. You do not only pinpoint finger on her when she does something wrong. Celebrate other people's achievements. So in doing so, we can enhance people's confidence, we can enhance their competence and make them become more autonomous also, as well as fostering their innovation and adaptation. So basically, this will help you to motivate, to inspire and reward them to improve on their practices, but also in their own personal development. So today, I will share with you my experiences, my journey as a source of inspiration, also as a source of motivation and knowledge. And I hope you will appreciate it. So a little bit about me. I know that Vice Chancellor gave a very long introduction about me, but I'll tell you a few things that you don't know about me. So I'm the eldest out of a family of three. There's three of us. There's my younger sister sitting there in the 1, 2, 3, 4th row. And I've got a brother. So we grew up not knowing our dad. And then we had our stepfather who came in. And from there, everything went down here because he was very violent. So for about 15 years of our childhood, teenage life, we suffered domestic violence. So people who have been through that, it's very tough. The trauma that it leaves on you is very tough. And at that time, you don't talk about these things. So you don't have anybody to talk to. So as a child, as a teenager, you've got a lot of psychological trauma to deal with. But anyway, our mom was she tried her best to give us a good life, good education as well. And at school, I did not want to learn, didn't really like learning. I did not like some of the subjects like history, politics, did not like them because I did not see how it would serve me in my life. And I was right. it didn't serve me at all, but because the system is like that, you have to learn. And since I had a very strict mother, and she wanted good grades, the only reason why I learned at school, and the only reason why I did well, because I was afraid of my mom. But it served me right. So then I went to Polytechnic, whereby I did my A-levels. I did geography, chemistry, and biology, because I love nature. Miss Indra, who is here, was my geography teacher. And that was tough as well, because during that time, my mom was diagnosed with cancer. And you can imagine 30 years ago, I'm talking to you about 30 years ago, when you are diagnosed with cancer, it's a death sentence. So here I was doing my A-levels, and my mom had to go abroad for treatment, and I had to care for my siblings, and I had to do my A-levels and deal with a stepfather that was abusive, that was tough, and my grades went down. So Miss Indra and Miss Vicky became very concerned because I was such a good student, and I was just plumbing, It was tough, very, very difficult. But I managed to at least come out with an A and 2 Bs, although my goal was to have 3 As. But just imagine, the challenges you're going through and still trying to make it. And I will always be grateful to Miss Indra and Miss Vicky, because when I was in my dark hours, they showed me that they cared. And at that time, this is what I needed, because my mom wasn't there. I don't have a father, stepfather absent, having to care for my sister and my brother, managing a budget, and looking for a beacon. And Miss Indra was there, and Miss Vicky, and they really supported me, and I will always be grateful to them for that, because it was tough, really tough. So Miss Indra, thank you very much. Okay, then I got to university, I did my studies, I came back, I wanted to work in forestry section because I wanted to become a botanist, but they did not have any openings, so I went to work with the conservation section on the Seychelles White-eye recovery program, and which was great, but after 3 months I became bored. I tend to get bored very easily, I like to do new things, so I was like, okay, what am I going to do now? I do not really see myself working for the government. What do I want to do? And I was like, I would like to be my own boss one day, be an independent consultant. Then I was like, okay, but what do I need to do? If you want to become an independent consultant, you need your voice to be heard. And back then, as a young lady, for your voice to be heard, you need to have qualifications. Otherwise, you're nothing. So I said, okay, I need to get a master and a PhD. Okay, a few weeks later, opportunities came for me to do a master and a PhD, and I took this opportunity. And when I came back after doing my PhD, I decided to start my career as an independent consultant, and here I am today. So that's a little bit of my background. I shared some painful moments with you because I want you to realize that when we are doing our journey, we are going through personal development. Very often people look at our achievements, but they tend to forget that those achievements are based on challenges and failures. And it is those challenges and failures that helps you to become a better person, better version of yourself. So, whenever we go through challenges in life, do not just stick our head under the ground. Deal with it head on, become stronger, because this is what made me the woman that I am today. Okay, so do not be afraid of challenges, turn them around to your advantage. So I will try to empower you through at least 4 case studies, which kind of illustrate all the different projects that I worked on. And the very first one, like I said, was the Seychelles recovery program, the Seychelles white-eye, which is a species whereby I did my PhD on. So yeah, I'm one of the experts for the Seychelles white-eyes. And when I was doing my PhD, actually, when you are a woman, you've got a career, and you have to decide, okay, do I want children or not? When do I have them, etc. very difficult decisions for women. For men, it's easy. They can have babies anytime. But for me, I made a decision, I don't know why, to have my child when I was in my second year of my PhD. So, you know, doing a PhD is very difficult, very challenging, and then I added a child on top of that. So, become a mom. And unfortunately, a few months after my son was born, I went through a separation and later on a divorce. So, doing a PhD, have a child, a single mom, it's crazy, really crazy. But through all those challenges, I managed to excel in my PhD. So a little bit on this program of Vicious white-eye, yes, which is a bird that almost went extinct because of predation mainly by rats, but also because of habitat destruction. So then the Ministry of Environment came up with a program to be able to save this bird. So we can see it here. White eye, it's also limiting prion because of the white ring around the eye that looks like eyeglasses. Okay, so at that time we knew them only from Mariette. There were only a few of them. So we had this program to try and save the species. And because we knew that predation was a major problem and habitat destruction was also a problem, so we knew that we had to look at options of taking them to some other islands where there are no rats and whereby we can restore the habitats for them. So basically we started with Frigate Island, whereby all rats were removed from Frigate Island, and then we planted various plant species that the bird depends on. And after that, we basically took the birds from Conception Island, because by that time we had discovered a new population of Conception Island. So we took them to Frigate Island. Later on, we also removed the rats from North Island, rehabilitated the island so we could take more birds to North Island, as well as cuisine, but they did not do well on cuisine. And in 2017, we did another introduction, this time taking birds from Frigate and North Island to send to Cancer Island. So that was a way for us to basically try and save this population. So whenever we do such activity, we had to capture the birds in the nets early in the morning. We give them rings in order to identify them, because all of them look the same. The male, the females, the youngs, they all look the same. So we had to give them some sort of identity by putting color rings on them that are different. And then we put them in bags. You can see those white bags. So there's a bird in each of them. And we put them in a box that we call a heli bird box, which is soundproof for them not to be affected by the echo of the helicopter. And they had a nice helicopter ride from Conception to Frigate or to North Island. Wonderful ride. Very nice. I don't know if you've ever been in a helicopter, but it's a wonderful experience. Arriving on the island, we keep them for a few hours in a cage, for them to get accustomed to the island. We feed them, make sure that they are well, and then we release them in the new environment. So they go around, they get used to the environment, they meet their boyfriend and girlfriend. For a couple, they have babies, and they raise their family, and that's how we manage to grow the population. So once we had them on the island, we also had to do some studies, some monitoring to ensure that the population is doing well, but also to learn. It's a learning process for us to be able to contribute this learning to others afterwards. So here you can see me with my colleague, Wilna Akush. We used to work together at the Ministry of Environment. So we will capture them. We will take their blood for us to analyze the DNA to know whether it's a male or a female. That's the only way we could know, by doing blood sampling and analyzing the blood. So we took some measurements as well, and we followed them. Okay, which was very nice and exciting. I really love outdoors. So basically, we managed to save this bird from near extinction to about 500 birds now. There's still more work to be done. It's not over, so I'm still working with the Island Biodiversity Conservation Center, which is affiliated with the University of Seychelles, for us to continue work on this issue. So this is one example, and I hope that some of you will be inspired, to go down that route in terms of saving our species. The second case study, basically, it's about more about ecosystem restoration, the work that I do with an NGO based on Prana, the Terrestrial Restoration Action Society of Seychelles, whereby we work with the communities for us to restore the island. So Prana is an island that has faced a lot of forest fires in the past. During historical times, the navigators, they harvested the cocoa bear, and then in order for them to push the price up, they burned the forest, because then only they will have cocoa bear, so they burned the forest. And then during the political uprising, out of frustration, people put fire to the forest to show that they are frustrated with the system. And we had even issues whereby, you are my neighbor, I don't like you, I burn your land. So unfortunately, this led to Prana becoming very degraded. About half, little less than half of the island is very degraded. And those problems are getting worse, because now with the issues of changes in climate, drought, intense rainfall, the land becomes even further degraded. And because this type of work is very challenging, nobody wants to do it. But we need to do something. Our ecosystems are degraded. It is affecting us, because there are a lot of consequences out of forest fire. When you burn a forest, the land becomes bare. Okay, when it rains, all the soil gets eroded, it goes into the rivers and the sea. All of you have seen red rivers and red oceans whenever it rains very heavily here. Okay, so what's happening in the mountains are affecting what's happening down on the coast. And also the soil that is exposed, it's exposed to the sun, they get baked, they are not fertile, and it's very difficult for the plants to grow. So one note about the forest. Some of you may know, some of you may not know. Forests are very important for our local climate, because that's where we get our rain. Seychelles is surrounded by a lot of water, but we cannot drink that water because it's seawater. Okay, so the only rain that we get comes from the forest, because the forest produces clouds, produces rain. We get local rain. Sometimes it's raining at Bellon, because we've got a lot of forests at Bellon, but it's not raining at Kamaka because they don't have much. So forests are very important for our local rain. Okay, to give us the drinking water. Okay, so it's very important that we realize how essential forests are for us to get our drinking water. And now with changes in climate, we're getting less rain as well, so we will have less drinking water. So then in class, we decided to have a long-term restoration program for us to start replanting those degraded mountains. But also we wanted to raise awareness of the private landowners and also the local communities. I say private landowners because on Prana, most of the land are privately owned. And when the land gets burnt, nobody really helped them to restore the land. So we decided as an NGO that we could really make a difference to empower the communities, to help them, because some of them, they want to restore their land, but they don't know how to do it. They don't have the techniques, they don't know what plants to grow, they don't know where to go. So that's where we come in to help them and to empower them and to train them, etc. So we had our nurseries. Now we have two very big nurseries. Actually, the biggest native plant nursery in the Seychelles. It is based on Prana. And with the help of communities as well, we prepare the plants and for us to plant them on site. And we also remove invasive species as well before we do the planting, together with communities, school children, etc. And because some of the slopes are very degraded and steep, before we can plant, we need to have barriers, that captures all the sediments that comes down. So here we decided to use palm leaves together with wooden sticks, okay, to create those barriers, and they can stay for 3-5 years. Those barriers captures all the sediments. You can see in one of the photos on the far right below. You can see all the soil that gets accumulated, and it's a lot. It's really amazing how much soil we are using. there's one thing that we don't realize, the importance of soil. Very important to store carbon, very important, plays a very important role in climate change. We very much ignore soil, but if we lose all our soil, we are in deep trouble. So maybe in another presentation, we'll talk about soil and show the importance of soil to our survival. So we do the replanting together with the help of the communities, and we've managed to do a lot of work with them. We really appreciate the help that we get from community, because otherwise it's very difficult to do this work. We don't have the funds to pay people all the time because it's very costly, and very often you need to walk 20 minutes with the plants uphill, and it's tough. But we've managed to empower local communities to do that. We even had a university of Seychelles joining us as well. Apart from mountains, we also restore mangroves and wetlands. And here you see photos of before and after, because we do monitor the success of our restoration. Is very important because opportunities for us to learn as well. And through the work that we do, we also work with the University of Seychelles. At the university, the students will learn about the theories, etc. But on site, together with us, they learn the practical side of things. So for the past couple of years, we've been engaging with them. Daniel has been very instrumental in that, coming to partner with the students, whereby they learn about soil erosion experiments, planting methods, measuring, plant monitoring, etc. And we also train other members of the communities, including even students, into how to do some of the measurements. Very important as well, when we're talking about empowering local communities, is the aspect of education and awareness as well, because they need to be aware of what's going on, what are the issues, and how we can mitigate those problems. So we do activities even with the tourists through one of the programs that we have, which is a holiday with a difference. So they plant a tree for them to mitigate or for them to offset the impact of their carbon into the environment. So plant a tree to benefit us basically. So through the work, basically, we learned that there are some key strategies and elements for ecosystem restoration. And this is the fact that we need to empower our communities, and we need to get them committed, okay, to protect the environment. If you cannot empower your people, cannot get them committed and motivated, it's very difficult for you to do anything. So you need to invest yourself into the personal development of the people that you are working with, so that they can help you to preserve whatever you're trying to preserve. The third case study basically stems from some of my work that I did with other consultants, mainly on knowledge creation, to inform certain decisions that needs to be taken. For instance, sometimes there's a hotel development and an impact assessment needs to be done. So that's where we step in to do such work. And here is an example of the use of freshwater surveys in biodiversity impact assessment. And we did one a few years back for Grotons, because there are plans to build a dam at Grotons. So we need to look at what will be the impacts of such a dam on the species and on the habitats, but also on the people. So for that, we need knowledge of the species that are present, we did our inventories, collect data, etc. And we managed to come up with some proposals. What will be the potential impacts and how we can mitigate against these impacts. So that's an area whereby there's a lack of expertise, and it's an area that I think that we really need to focus on, because Seychelles is developing, and it's developing fast, and the development is having an impact onto our environment. But we don't have sufficient people with sufficient knowledge, sometimes even in-depth knowledge, Sometimes we have people, they go, okay, in the wetland, I can see a moorhen, I can see a terrapin, that's it, that's your wetland assessment. No, completely wrong. And then somebody takes that and do a decision on that. So if the information is bad, the decision will be bad. So we need good technical people. So I hope that some of you will be aspired, to become good at what you do. Provide good information so that other people can take good decisions. Another example whereby we did one for Prane, because again, they wanted to build a barrage to fight against forest fire. So we had to do some wetland surveys, look at what's available. And I like to use those consultancies always for me to train and educate others. So I always bring students or young people with me to do such work. And even here in the room, we have students who participated with us, and today they're working with the University of Seychelles, because they were inspired by the work that we did. So just to show you again, like when you bring people on board, you can inspire them, you can motivate them to do something, and later on they benefit another organization, and they benefit the country as a whole. So this is the kind of spirit that we need to have whenever we do our work. It's not only for ourselves, it's for others as well. Okay, the last case study now. I started with species recovery, which was more species centered, and then I moved on to ecosystem restoration, looking at not only the species, but the habitats. And then I moved on to bridging the gap between biodiversity studies and decision making. Okay, you can see there's a pattern here. But while doing all that, I always felt that something was missing. Yeah, it's good we are conserving the bird, the turtles, etc. But you will not really succeed if your people are not on board with you. You will not succeed if your people are completely disconnected from what you are doing. And I felt that people are basically disconnected from nature. They are disconnected from the environment. They are disconnected from the earth that we live on. Okay, so I cannot really succeed in my work if people are disconnected. So I said, something needs to be done here to try and make people reconnect with the essence of life, reconnect with the earth, reconnect with what is providing us with the oxygen, the food, etc. At the same time, I realized that we need capacities. We need people to be able to do that. But to develop capacities means that you are enhancing the personal development of other people. So I said, maybe I can play a role here, in terms of holding the hands of others to help them in their personal journey. So that's when I came up with the idea of setting up Gaia Seychelles, which is an NGO, whereby basically we try to empower and encourage the local actors, people from the communities, to really make a change in their lives. Because if you want to change, you don't wait for somebody else to do it. Do it yourself. Whatever change you want in your life, empower yourself to do it. Stop sitting down and waiting for other people to do things for you. You want something to be different, but you sit down, you cross your arms, and you're not contributing to it. Okay, so that's the idea behind Gaia Seychelles, to empower local communities. And because I love nature, I love environment, we tend to use nature as the learning platform for people's personal development. So we've done a few things. We are quite new, but one of the main things that we started with was starting a club for the kids. We call it the Little Explorers Club. Because we believe that inspiring children to become change makers and protect the only planet that gives us life is key. We need to work with the young generation. It's easier to work with kids than to work with the adults. Because, a lot of us adults have already formed our ideas, we've already got conclusions. Sometimes we know everything, so it's very hard to work with people who knows everything. Okay? It's easier to start with the kids and to empower them and to guide them, because they are our future. they are the ones who are going to take decisions tomorrow. So when you are old, waiting for your pension, they are the one who was going to decide whether to give you your pension or not. So better start inspiring them now, because we will rely on them tomorrow. So basically in the club, we do various activities, like they learn how to do traditional dance, like capacha. So here we have the Research Institute for Creole and Culture. There's your culture, important part of our identity. We install that in our kids. So we have an old man from the community who helps us to do that. We also teach them how to grow their own food without putting pesticides and stuff like that that basically pollute our food. Okay, sometimes we are told eat 5 portions a day, eat more fruits and vegetables, but a lot of our vegetables, we don't know how much pesticides are in there, so sometimes we are just poisoning ourselves. So we teach the kids about that. We have a garden that was set up for them with the help of the national grant. So they grow their own food, and they harvest their food using their capacha, which is great, and they are very proud to do that. And then we sell the produce for us to have a little bit of funds to support the club. They do other activities like planting on pralin. They also visit the different modes of transport and understand the impact that this can have onto the environment. And we do traditional games with them again, making them connect with their roots. We're losing that connection with our roots as well. We pretend that we are, other nations. We forget we are Creole, we are Sichilwa. We lose contact with the roots. And that's very dangerous, because if a tree lose contact with its roots, what will happen to it? It will die. Okay? So in a way, we are slowly dying as well, because we're losing contact with our identity. Okay? So I am on my last slide. I've taken you through a journey whereby, through my experience, we've done a lot of things for the Seychelles. But then sometimes you ask the question, but why do all this? For what purpose? What's the purpose of doing anything? Why are you here today? For what purpose are you here? So let's go back to the vision of University of Seychelles, which is to aspire to be at the heart of socio-economic transformation. Second part, contribute to knowledge and understanding. That's a very nice vision. In our lives, we need to have goals, we need to have vision, because this is what sets the direction, this is what sets the compass. We know where we want to go. We want to be at the heart of socio-economic transformation. Question is, how do we get there? What are we going to do? Okay. First thing, know your goal, know your vision. You have a purpose to your life. Why are we here, basically? Very important question. So sometimes for us to know our purpose, we need to know what our values, what are our gifts, basically. You will see I put a photo here. What is this? What's in the photo? What? A mango tree. What's on the mango tree? Fruits. What's the purpose of the mango tree? To give? To give fruits? Be more specific. What's the purpose of mango tree? To give mangoes. So if the mango tree produces avocados, there's a problem. It's not fulfilling its purpose. Its purpose is to produce mangoes. Okay? So if the mango tree do not produce any mango, what will you do to it? You cut it down because it's not giving you anything. So you cut it down. What are you giving? What are you producing? What are your gifts? What are you giving to the world? If nothing, I've got a big chainsaw at the back of my truck and come and cut you down. We need to have a purpose. We need to know our values. What are our values? Are we loving? Are we generous? Are we joyful? Are we jealous? Are we violent? Do we have compassion? Do we have a love for people? What are our values? Very important to know our values. So when you look at the values, maybe if you are a jealous person, you are violent, you need to have yourself checked. Get better values on board. Because your values will help you to understand what you have to offer to the world, to help you to understand your gifts, okay, to give to the world. So the other thing, you need to be passionate at what you do. Be passionate. You wake up in the morning, be passionate to be alive. You do your work, be passionate to do your work. Yes, there are challenges. Today, I really do not want to do this report. No, I don't want to deal with Vice Chancellor today, but put some effort, you know. It will pass, because when you are passionate about something, you can do it better. You know, you've got all those positive energies flowing in you, and you can really achieve things better. So basically, once we know our gift, then we can serve it to the world. We are here to be of service. Okay? Do not expect people to come and serve you. Be of service to others. You know? Just like the mango tree will produce mangoes for the bats to eat, for us to eat. You know, it's a service that it's giving us. We too need to give service out to others. You know, empower others, lift each other up. Only then can we truly be an instrument of transformation. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Henriette. We would now like to open the floor for some discussion, be it from Mariette's or Dr. Henriette's presentation. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you have any questions or discussion, so please raise your hand and we'll bring the microphone to you. Okay, good.
Good morning everyone. Okay, my name is Ian and I'm a part-time lecturer in the BSc program. Of course, working with Dr. Henriette. First of all, I would like to congratulate UniSey. And as part of my work, one thing which I appreciate today, so far I'm seeing women lead the program for today. And this is something which I appreciate a lot. And I think this deserves a clap in itself. Okay, for me, I came here because definitely I know these two young ladies. Definitely Mariette. I came to know her when I was in PCA. And one thing which maybe Mariette didn't say, which is like something very challenging, when she shared her thoughts on the work she did at North Island. In PCA, while we're still with Longos, Mariette was instrumental in developing the vision and mission for PCA. This is a very big task, believe me. If I'm not mistaken, it took Mariette at least a year to do it, right, Mariette? Yes. She came a few times during our monthly meetings, which do voluntary, and this is something that maybe some of you should venture in, helping to build mission, vision, and action plans. Because and especially it should be done by young people who can see that through in the upcoming decade. And for this, I think Mariette should not forget to put that in your CV, please. Okay, of course I'm following you on TV, the fashion, the research, it's seaweed, don't worry. I mean, because I'm here at UniSey, so I'm keeping a close eye. And of course now I go to Elvina, Dr. Henriette, very proud of you. Like you say, young women, me, I give total support to women. I mean, I've shown that in my personal life, some of you. But this is something which I really appreciate. And even in the work I do, gender is a big topic. So I'm very happy and I wish you success. Of course, I don't want to question too much on the topic of your presentation, Elvina. Conservation and socio-economic development. I think we can talk about this for a year. But for me, what I would like to ask you is to continue doing what you are doing and to continue inspiring us. Thank you very much.
So any other contribution, questions, or discussion? Dr. Lamoy? Okay.
It's great, fantastic progress. As the speaker said, a big thank you to UniSey for providing the training. Secondly, it's a real pleasure to see the locals who've been trained to be so active in the field. Really a big change from when I was a young man. Thirdly, the conservationists are involving the small children. Some of them will be the future conservationists. All these are good things. May I make a little plea to the University of Seychelles and to the environmentalists. You have to develop the courage. You have to have the guts to speak out when necessary. It was sad when Coral Strand was being built. I was the only one to stand up and say Coral Strand should be pushed back 30, 50 feet and not to cut the Takamaka trees. Not one Seychellois stood up to back me up. Not one. I was made to feel like a fool. Recently, 5 years ago, Assumption Island was going to be turned into a huge Indian naval base. I was the only one to stand up in front of the National Assembly with a placard saying, ecotourism is more important than a naval base. It will affect Aldebra and so on. I managed to persuade a group of people to join me in front of the National Assembly and around the clock tower. But very sad, extremely sad, the environmentalists did not have the guts, the courage to join us. Okay? That's why I'm making a special plea. UniSey in your course, the Association of Environmentalists, you have to develop the guts, the courage to speak out, to demonstrate on very important issues. I will not demonstrate for minor issues, but when it came to Assumption, I was prepared to stand up. Okay? So my only plea, carry on doing the good work, carry on encouraging the young ones, but when necessary, step forward. Don't be afraid. Fear is a horrible thing. If you are afraid, you will not do anything. So when it's really important, have the guts to speak, to come forward. Thank you.
Any other contribution or questions? Any other questions or contributions?
morning, everyone. Listening to both of our presenters this morning brings back a passion for knowledge and tenacity in the face of adversity. The Dr. Henriette talk about the challenges during childhood of domestic violence and all the barriers none of us should really be exposed to during our education. It's not a question, it's really a statement of admiration for both of our presenters to be persistent in the pursuit of knowledge, in the pursuit of your own passions, and I'm going to ask you to act as advocates for our young people to show what can be done through hard work, tenacity, and opportunity. I applaud both of you. I know one of you from earlier before, and Dr. Henriette, I think we shared the same city back in England at one time. So thank you very much for a wonderful anniversary lecture. But the real message is never to give up and to keep pursuing your passions, whatever age we are. And to my previous speaker, say you are never too young for certain issues. Thank you very much.
Any other question or contribution?
Good morning, everyone. As a BSc environmental student, I would like to thank both of you, Dr. Henriette and Mrs. Mariette, for such an inspiration and to be built in us like the compassion to move forward in protecting the environment of our pristine country. And also with that said, the second speaker mentioned that sometimes we do not hear from environmentalists coming forward when it's time and when it's necessary. Sometimes, yes, environmentalists, we do go out of the field, we do the research, we do have the information and the data, but sometimes us as environmentalists, it's not enough to go forward for our voices to be heard. We need the help and the support of every other locals. Even if you do not have experience in environment or enough knowledge, anything that you can observe or see counts as a contribution to push things forward. So with this said, I believe that every single one of us in this room or even outside the room can join together to create such a force where our voices can be heard. And this can give an opportunity for each and every one of us to learn from each other. Thank you.
So do we have a final contribution in the audience or question? No? We've got the essay.
Good morning, all. I also want to appreciate the two speakers. But I will bring a little bit of element of controversy in what I'm going to say, but in a good spirit. I'm coming from the Ministry of Investment, Entrepreneurship and Industry. So we are probably guilty of also undermining the work that is done here. But in all of this, I would say that we appreciate that. In fact, part of our vision of the ministry is to create wealth and employment responsibly in a conducive environment. Now, my play on this side, which is bringing an element, because you've spoken, Dr. Henriette, of the need for that conservation, and Mariette, you also underline that relevance. But we are also an island state with limited resources. So that balance between conservation and socio-economic development, as you also tried, needs to be struck, that we do not pull to either extreme, because that also undermines our existence. So we need to consider, keep that in mind as we we progress in our. Thank you.
Thank you, PS. Okay, we've got Mr. Johnson.
Thank you very much. I think Elvina spoke about passion. But I think the thing she should have talked about is devotion. I think passion is an emotion. Because I think if you're going to change behavior, logic doesn't work. Otherwise, there will be no fat people, there will be no cancer, and so on. I think that the challenge is to turn the people who are the problem into the champions to stop the problem. And so I think we have to bring in the artists. You have to make it mainstream. It cannot be on the fringe for the environmentalists. It has to be when there's a Creole festival, instead of having a funny sketch about the bus stop or something, somebody will be talking about what is unique to the Seychelles heritage. And because I get the impression 90% of the people do not even know what is natural in Seychelles. And I think this is a pity. We have to somehow turn the Seychelles into the champions to defend their natural heritage. And just one slight comment I have to make for Elvina. I think she's looking at the environment purely from a biotic prism, but there are a lot of what I would call abiotic factors. For example, if we carry on the way we are, soon there will not be enough rocks left, and there will be no more sand. So I think you also have to look at the abiotic factors. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. I think we'll leave the rest of the engagement with the speakers after this event this morning. So we would now like to present the gift to our two speakers. So may I invite the Vice Chancellor for the presentation of the gifts. Mariette, may I ask you to come forward to receive the gift? And Dr. Henriette, may I ask you to come forward, please? Okay, thank you, VC. Thank you, speakers. We shall now move on to the second part of the program, whereby the National University will be signing a memorandum of understanding with the national airline. This collaboration between the two parties will continuously strengthen their relationship and will allow them to work on existing and new initiatives which commit both institutions to work together for the benefit of both parties. It is my pleasure to invite the CEO of Air Seychelles, Mr. Sandy Benuato, and the Vice Chancellor of UniSey, Ms. Joël Bureau, to come forward for the signing of the MOU. I would also like to call forward the two witnesses for the signing, Ms. Benelda Cupidon from Air Seychelles and Dr. Indra Pasu from UniSey. Thank you all.
We shall now move to the final part of our program for this morning. As part of our 14th anniversary celebrations, the University of Seychelles will be hosting a UniSey fundraising gala at Kempinski Seychelles Resort on the 21st of October 2023. The purpose of the event is to raise funds for 4 main projects that UniSey wishes to embark on as of 2024. The projects are Open Lifelong Learning Center, International Work-Based Experience for Students, Maintenance of Classrooms, Staff Rooms, and Labs, and the funding of UniSey's 15th anniversary activities. Stakeholders, we will soon be engaging with you for your support on these projects, and we invite you to purchase a table or more for the event or even contribute towards the projects through a donation. Individuals who also wish to support us may purchase their tickets. UniSey values your support and is committed to meeting the national priority needs of the country. So, ladies and gentlemen, we count on your support, and I would now like to ask the Vice Chancellor to join us again at the front to launch the UniSey's 15th year anniversary countdown.
So, ladies and gentlemen, it is an honor for me to launch our 15th year anniversary countdown, which will actually start on Sunday, 17th September, up to 17th September 2024. From this month onwards, the plan towards the 17th September 2024 will consist of a series of events, workshops, etc., among others. And as seen today, we have kickstarted with the anniversary lecture, which will be followed in October with the UniSey fundraising gala and the 15th year logo competition. So the University of Seychelles will soon be presenting its program towards the 15th anniversary to the media, and we look forward to the engagement of the people of Seychelles and all our local and international stakeholders. So happy 14th anniversary to us all. And as of Sunday, we embark on the 15th anniversary countdown. So thank you, everybody, and have a great day.
Thank you, BC. As UniSey prepares to showcase its achievements since 2009 through an exhibition, we would like to take this opportunity to ask anyone, our students, alumni, staff, ex-employees, friends, stakeholders, anyone who has photos or short videos on the University of Seychelles since its inception in 2009 until now, to share with us on marketing@unisey.ac.sc. UniSey is grateful for your contributions. To our alumni and the founders of the National University, do reach us wherever you are. Your contribution towards these milestones are very valuable. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of today's event. On behalf of UniSey, I would like to extend our gratitude to all those who have made this event possible. The speakers, of course, Dr. Henriette and Ms. Mariette, Man Creations, staff and students of the University of Seychelles, Air Seychelles representative, we appreciate your continuous support. To you all present, thank you for coming, and to those following us virtually, thank you. Have a pleasant day and join us outside the auditorium for some refreshments. And to staff of the University of Seychelles, happy 14th anniversary. Thank you.
Thank you.